Judith clutched the job offer, her heart drumming with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. This was the moment she had been waiting for, the culmination of years of hard work and perseverance. The position was perfect, a chance to finally step into her chosen field. It was everything she had dreamed of, a stepping stone to a brighter future. But it came with a catch, a relocation to a remote town miles from her comfortable life. The thought of leaving behind her friends and family weighed heavily on her mind. Still, Judith was determined. This was her chance, and she wouldn't let distance stand in her way. She knew that opportunities like this didn't come around often. Packing her life into boxes, Judith bid farewell to her old life. Each item she packed was a reminder of the life she was leaving behind, but also a symbol of the new beginnings ahead. The town she was moving to seemed pleasant enough, nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering forests. It had a charm of its own, a stark contrast to the bustling city she was used to. Finding an apartment near the town square, she settled into a routine, her days consumed by the excitement of her new job. The community was welcoming, and she quickly found herself adapting to the slower pace of life. Everything was falling into place except for one nagging detail: the commute. The daily struggle to get to work was becoming a significant source of stress. Public transport was virtually non-existent, and taxis were exorbitantly priced. The cost of commuting was starting to eat into her budget, making her question her decision. Just as Judith began to worry, she stumbled upon an advertisement for the Crimson Coach, a private bus service catering specifically to her route. It seemed like a stroke of luck. Relief washed over her. It seemed like the perfect solution. Finally, she could focus on her work without the constant worry of how she would get there. Little did she know, the Crimson Coach was not a solution, but the start of her descent into a nightmare. The journey she thought would bring her peace was about to unravel into something far more sinister. The bus was an imposing vehicle, a sleek crimson behemoth that seemed to devour the road. Its presence was both commanding and enigmatic, a stark contrast against the dark, empty road it traveled. Its tinted windows hid the passengers, adding an air of mystery to its presence. The shadows within seemed to whisper secrets, making one wonder about the lives and stories concealed behind the glass. Judith, initially apprehensive, found herself drawn to its aura of exclusivity. There was something almost magnetic about the bus, an allure that she couldn't quite put her finger on. It felt more like a limousine service than a public bus. The ambience was one of sophistication and comfort, a stark departure from the usual public transport experience. The interior was surprisingly luxurious, with plush, reclining seats and soft ambient lighting. The red velvet seats seemed to promise a journey of comfort and relaxation. The other passengers, a mix of professionals in crisp suits and tired-looking workers, seemed lost in their own worlds. Each person was wrapped in their own thoughts, their faces reflecting the weariness of the day. A sense of drowsiness pervaded the air, a subtle lull that seemed to seep from the very upholstery of the bus. It was as if the bus itself was a cocoon, enveloping its passengers in a blanket of tranquility. Judith, exhausted from her long days, found it impossible to resist the siren call of sleep. The gentle hum of the engine and the soft sway of the bus were like a lullaby, coaxing her into slumber. Every evening, she would sink into the plush embrace of her seat, the gentle rocking of the bus lulling her into a deep slumber. It became a ritual, a moment of peace in her otherwise hectic life. She would wake up just as the bus pulled into the town square, the last remnants of her dream clinging to her like cobwebs. The transition from the dream world to reality was always gentle, leaving her feeling oddly refreshed and ready to face the evening ahead. Days melted into weeks, each one a hazy replica of the last, blurring together in a monotonous cycle. Judith's life had settled into a strange rhythm: work, exhaustion, the crimson coach, sleep, and repeat. Each day felt like a mere echo of the one before. The job, demanding yet exhilarating, consumed all her waking hours. It was a relentless grind, but one she embraced with a fierce determination. She poured her heart into it, determined to prove herself worthy of the opportunity. Every task, no matter how small, was tackled with unwavering focus. Her colleagues were friendly, albeit a little distant. They exchanged pleasantries and shared polite smiles, but there was a noticeable lack of genuine connection. Their conversations were always polite yet strangely superficial, devoid of any personal details. It was as if they were all wearing masks, hiding their true selves. Judith, initially attributing this to the new environment, slowly started noticing a pattern. The more she observed, the more she realized how orchestrated everything seemed. It was as if they were all living out a script, their lives strangely synchronized and devoid of spontaneity. Every action, every word felt rehearsed. Still, Judith clung to the anticipation of her first paycheck. It was a beacon of hope, a tangible reward for her relentless efforts. It was a tangible symbol of her hard work, the validation she craved. Holding it in her hands would be a moment of triumph, a confirmation of her worth. She dreamt of what she would do with it, the little indulgences she would allow herself. A new dress, a piece of jewelry, perhaps even a short getaway. But the paycheck, much like the crimson coach, seemed shrouded in a strange sense of delay, forever out of reach. It was a promise that remained unfulfilled, a goal that seemed to slip further away with each passing day. Section 4. The missing paycheck. The day the realization hit her was like any other. Stepping off the crimson coach, Judith felt the familiar wave of disorientation wash over her. It was as if the bus ride had wiped clean a part of her memory, leaving behind a blank slate. Shaking off the feeling, she headed straight to the company's finance department, a bright smile plastered on her face. The smile faltered as the clerk, a woman with a pinched face and a tight bun, stared at her with a blank expression. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice devoid of any inflection. "But we don't have anyone by that name on our payroll." Judith's world tilted on its axis. "There must be some mistake," she stammered, her voice laced with panic. "I've been working here for a month." The clerk's expression remained unchanged, a mask of bureaucratic indifference. "I'm sorry," she repeated, her voice a monotonous drone, "but you need to leave." Section 5. A trail of whispers. Panic clawed at Judith's throat. She raced back to her apartment, her mind a whirlwind of confusion and fear. Frantically, she searched for her employment contract, her offer letter, any shred of evidence that proved she wasn't delusional. But they were gone, vanished into thin air. Desperation gnawed at her sanity. She started asking around discreetly at first, then with increasing urgency. But her inquiries were met with blank stares and nervous shrugs. It was as if she were talking about a phantom, a figment of her imagination. Then, a whisper, a sliver of fear in a stranger's eyes, gave her a new lead. The crimson coach, the old woman had hissed, clutching Judith's arm with surprising strength. "They say it steals memories, traps souls." Judith, initially dismissive, couldn't shake off the chilling feeling that settled over her. Could the bus hold the key to her missing month?